Experiencing heartbreak can be tough, and it's not unusual to find ourselves at our lowest point, unsure of what the next step to take is. A lot of people even experience a sort of plateau for a period of time just because of the emotional and mental weight that their love for someone had on them. But as with all things, we have to move on. And in the process of moving on from our heartbreaks, we sometimes try to distract ourselves in any way that we can. And unfortunately, that can include harmful behavior, like getting slapped by all your friends and family and then becoming the slapboxer world champion. What the f? Slap by Takeo Ono is a comedic one-shot about a guy getting dumped by a single slap and coping with his emotions by enduring the thing that caused his heartbreak in the first place. It's a ridiculous yet intriguing plot that explores coping with falling out of a relationship in the most exaggerated way possible. You know that cliche where the person who was in love keeps getting reminded of their previous love interest because of vaguely related items? This is the exact opposite. Instead of trying to move on from his love life by engaging in more uplifting activities, the main protagonist decides that the only way to deal with it is by drowning out the pain from the slap that initiated the breakup with constant slaps from other people. And somehow from getting slapped up so much by others, he built enough of a resistance to participate in slapboxing and become the top competitor in the world. It's hilarious and doesn't take itself too seriously. But please indulge me for a little as I analyze this one shot too seriously, because I think there's something to be said about the way it handles its themes, even if it is ultimately pointless or unintentional. This one shot uses the strongest in the world trope, similar to Saitama from One Punch Man, as the main protagonist seems to absolutely crush his opponents flawlessly while taking little damage himself. But no matter how strong, popular, or hard he's hit, the pain from his breakup never goes away. It's an amusing way to convey how the emotional distress of love can be overwhelming and greater than physical pain at times. Coupled with the amazing artwork, it enhances the dramatization of the anguish that the main character feels. You can tell just how much frustration and sadness that has been built up because of the impact of his slaps. The main character never gets to find out the reason for his breakup, at least initially, so the only thing that he could do was wallow in his emotions because of the lack of closure that he received. And that lack of closure can be overwhelming because of the feelings of regret and dissatisfaction clearly highlighted by the 1 year of depression that the guy goes through. His idea of getting slapped by other people is the literal depiction of being slapped out of it, and it obviously being his lingering heartbreak. And in a way, his ability to tank the hits is also a sign of how he's become numb to the pain. And although it's physical in this case, it's similar to how people can become emotionally numb through stress and traumatic experiences. And I guess in this case, we can argue that this breakup was so traumatic that it literally changed the trajectory of this man's life. In a lot of ways, the monologuing about how his past experiences of being with and after his girlfriend depicts his innocence and development from a lovey-dovey guy to a heartbroken badass. That feeling of childhood elation to have your first girlfriend only to crash down when you find out it didn't work out in the end. Sometimes you just can't get over someone no matter how much you try to drown out with literally anything. And it's those cases where you have to come to terms with the issue yourself and learn to move on, or maybe look to others for advice. But this isn't a serious romantic drama, it's a lighthearted rom-com, so in typical rom-com fashion, it was all a misunderstanding. And after seeing his girlfriend's achievements, the main character begins to understand all of those strange qualities that she had. It was all in the pursuit of getting stronger. The main character too had built up his physical strength, but starting from his weakest and most vulnerable state. It's a representation of the main character's progress in physical and emotional well-being and as a character. Slap isn't a super deep and thought-provoking story like some of the other one-shots that I've covered, but it is a very fun one that uses shonen-esque fighting tropes to tell a nice story about how it feels to go through a breakup. Oh, yeah, slapboxing too. You may have noticed that some of these panels look phenomenal, and without having any prior knowledge about this one-shot, I definitely would not have thought this was a rom-com. I love all the details on muscles and the human body. I don't really know anything about anatomy, but to my untrained eye, this looks really good. All of the action panels also have so much depth, like you can really feel the weight of the hits. My friend made a comment that it looked like the kind of quality that an assistant for a manga like Kengen Ashita would have, and I can agree. As said before, this one-shot was made by Takeo Ono and can be viewed officially on the Shonen Jump Plus website. Ono might be most well known for doing the art of a Record of Ragnarok spin-off, The Legend of Lubu. I know next to nothing about Record of Ragnarok, but the manga has a great track record of having good art, and seeing as they passed down the work to Ono for the spin-off, and looking at some of the panels, I think it was well deserved. He's also worked on some short serialized mangas in the past, those being Koketsu no Kumikyoku and Bug Girl, both of which have 3 volumes and seem to be finished. I wasn't able to find much information of either, much less any circulating copies. There is a plot synopsis for Bug Girl and it seems intriguing enough. Ono's latest and ongoing work is a manga called Norainu Hama no Kyoken, and he actually shares regular updates on Twitter. It has 1 volume and 13 chapters as of writing this script, and you can read it on the Young Champion magazine website. It seems to have a focus on boxing, so if you can read Japanese, like this one-shot, and can fork up a little bit of cash, then it would probably be worth taking a look at that. I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode of One Shot Reviews. This is quite a shorter one than the previous 2, but my plan to do Heroes by Inio Asano kind of fell through because I'm currently unable to find an English scanlation of the full book that came out after the one-shot. So I found Slap, and it was a fun read, so I decided to make a video on this instead. I think it's good to have some more lighthearted stories every now and again, because I think if I were to end up constantly covering deep and thought-provoking one-shots, I'd probably run out of material for the sake of having similar themes and messages. Starting September, the uploads might be going back to a once-a-month schedule as school is starting back up again. I've already started drafting the script for September's main video, but I'll see if I can get a one-shot review for that month too. I'm not a busy person, I'm actually just very lazy. But that's about it from me. As always, feel free to suggest some one-shots that you would like to see me cover, and I'll try to take a look at them. Maybe I'll see you again, and take care.